Hello. God damn it. I hate everything. Why is this not working? Quacko, Connor, hello. Log sessions currently active. Okay, so sorry, I have a Stream Deck button that creates a new file, which then when I press another button, it logs a timestamp to it, which is really then useful for me to editing shorts. But it's weirdly stateful. So you press it and it goes into like the recording mode, so the other button works. But if you forget to end the recording and press it again, then you can't press it again to start a new one, and it gets stuck in this like, well, I'm kind of writing to one. It's just weirdly annoying, and then I forget, like, I have like a special naming system for it, so then I have to reset up all that, and it's a whole ordeal. Year, month, day, choose folder, somewhere on the NAS. Okay, fine, let's. Okay, I think we're there. More pain, more pain. Okay. Anyway, usual greetings to everyone. Hello. Who we got? Connor, Quacko, Matthias, Julian, Betty. Hello, hello, hello. Hope everyone is having a pleasant Sunday. I basically have decided that the last 30 minutes of last stream was not necessarily a waste of time, but almost certainly a waste of time. So I'm going to try and do proper mouse picking today, because the way I was doing it was naive and was never going to work. Just in time for Christmas. Exciting. AC, hello. Okay, so let's begin. Okay. So we've got this, okay, and this is kind of cool. You know, you can move stuff around. The problem is that at the moment, if you want to select an object, you have to do it via this menu, which is a massive pain. And if you have them both selected at the same time, then it goes absolutely wild, because it will apply the same transformation to both. What I want to be able to do is click. Like, I don't think that's a lot to ask. I don't think it's a huge amount to ask. I'd like click. It's slightly more nuanced than you would think, though, because it basically involves constructing array from the window space into the world space, and then going through everything and going through every triangle in the model. But the problem is, though, all the model, the vertex data is in model space, because as a transformation matrix, right? Both of these cubes, right, have the same vertex data in effectively NDC, right, between -1 and 1, and so I have to construct the ray, and then something. You either turn the ray into model space or turn the model into ray space. I think it's easier to do one transformation to get the ray into model space, do the intersection, and then resolve the collision point, the intersection point. Am I going to do docking? I don't know. At some point, like, it's not needed now, so I'm not going to bother. It might be useful. The problem with docking, right, is that, do I then have like a subset viewport, or would this then sit over the render window, or do I then shrink the render window into a separate viewport? I don't really know. I think for now it's kind of fine. So I mean, like, we got like some controls, but yeah, I think, yeah. It's not a high priority for the moment, because at the moment we can make progress. So what I was originally doing was, I was like, well, like, these are all block colors, right? So on the mouse click, I could just read back the pixel color from the frame buffer after I've done the rendering, and something work out the color. I think that has a couple of one, it's, I guess, kind of fast, but two, it has quite a lot of disadvantages. One, you read back the pixel color as bytes, but I write the colors as floats, so there's potentially an issue there with the converting between the two of them, that there's some precision might get lost and I might not be able to pick out the color. And the other is that this obviously only works for like no lighting, no textures. And the other thing is that I'm going to eventually have to solve ray casting within a scene to make like guns work, right? So it's a pretty lame FPS without any sort of like pew pew. So I'm gonna have to solve this eventually anyway. So might as well just solve it now, even if it's just in a naive way, and then we can kind of get on with our lives. So the idea is at the end of this, we should be able to click and select on objects and have that update the menu. And then I really want like an add new cube so we can then start influencing the scene. So that's it. So I did, and I don't often do this, I did do a little bit of work off stream to so let's just do mouse picking, which I don't often do, but I allowed myself the opportunity to do it on this project, and it was largely what I wanted to do is to do some of the boilerplate for this stream that would be boring to do live because it's just rote copying implementations of other, of maths. So let me go through what I did. Let me catch you guys up on my fun weekend. So I had attempt at I attempted to fix the release notes, which didn't work, so that didn't make any difference. However, I now can. You would have noticed that when I did merge this change, it didn't alert Discord, so I now have an optional to not post to Discord from the actions, which I think is pretty good. I can do sneaky work. I moved some files around, so I've been meaning to do this for a while. So the graphic entity and scene now live in core rather than graphics. I added a matrix for invert function, which again, like, it's just I just copied this implementation. Like, I think there's very little value in everyone watching me copy this live, so I just copied this live and added a test. So we can invert a matrix now. Cool. I added a super lightweight vector4 class, which literally just stores XYZW and allows you to construct it from a vector3. It has no other than the equality operator and like the toString and the way of extracting vector3. It does nothing. It's not a great vector4 implementation. I had an array class, and all the array does is just have an origin and a direction. Pretty standard array implementation. Like, it has a place where it starts and a place where it's going, and the constructor does normalize the direction on construction. So it's kind of it's a contract of the class that you'll always end up with a normalized direction, an invariant of the class. So I did that. Then I did matrix for vector4 multiplication. Again, like, it's just grinding out first row by first column, second row by first column, whatever the matrix multiplication algo is. Not optimized, just there. Did I add a test for that? I did. Sweet. I then added ray triangle intersection. I guess this is maybe one of the few things that is kind of maybe interesting. So so you can give an array and then given 3 vertices in the same space as the ray, right? It doesn't really matter as long as they're the same space. It will check if the ray intersects the triangle made out of these 3 vertices. Again, I just copied this implementation, like, it's just straight up copied it. It just returns a optional float, which would be either unset if it is, or disengaged if it doesn't intersect, and engaged if it does intersect, and the float will be the distance along the ray to the point of intersection. So that's kind of that. And then this is lazy git, by the way. And then I did modify mesh view. Again, this is all just, so before mesh view just had an index offset and then like an index count, I think. Now it's actually aware of the data. So these are all kind of still relative to each other. So you get so for instance, for the indices, you get a span over the index data, and then you have the offset of where that sits within the global array. So all indices for all objects are all in one massive array. So you effectively get the slice that is relevant to this mesh and how far in that slice starts. And it's the same for the vertex data, right? So you get all vertices across the entire universe of this game, all in one massive array. You get, for a given mesh, the slice that are relevant, and then the offset from the start of that big global buffer to where it starts. And these are relative to this. So if I have index 0, that will be the 0th element in this span, not the 0th element in the global span, but you can construct that given all the other bits of data here. So there's enough here to be able to basically reason about individual vertices and indices in isolation, as well as within the big global buffer. Sorry, lots of talking this morning. This afternoon, this evening. And then I did do basic ray scene intersection. So given an array, okay, not an array, given a ray, which you have presumably cobbled together through something. This will iterate through all the entities. See, this is why I need the invert. This is basically just all those other primitives were just kind of leading up to this. It chunks up the indices into blocks of 3, because remember we have index rendering, so every block of 3 indices is a triangle. So this just slides a window effectively across all those. It pulls them out, it intersects them, and then it does some bookkeeping to see which is the closest point. So the tool is called LazyGit, but I also have the NeoVim plugin for it, which allows me just to pop it up. I would always suggest you do the thing you're contractually obligated to do and are paid for. I mean, you could just easily pull this out of the scene and have it take the entities. It just seemed to make sense. So the reason I did it in the scene is because I think eventually scene will become more complex and have some sort of acceleration behind it. So at the moment, like when you cast array, you have to intersect every single triangle in the scene. So ideally that should do early culling with AABBs. You might then have like an octree, or what was it? Like bounding volume hierarchy. So I think scene might actually eventually become an interface through which you could have different implementations for these kind of things. So it just seemed like a logical place to stick it for me. I would consider myself winning. Oh, where would you put it? Would you just have it as a free method? I'm kind of curious why you think this is strange. Also, like, I'm trying to keep everything, not that it is of relevance to this, but it's nice to kind of keep it all context extra. Oh, Perforce. Oof, I've been there. Did not enjoy it. So basically now, and then we have just an intersection result, which gives you the entity. You get an optional intersection, right? So again, if it's disengaged, then you've not intersected anything. If it is engaged, then you'll get a pointer to the entity which you intersected with, and the point of intersection closest to the ray. So again, the ray might pass through several triangles. It should, in theory, give you the closest one. Press the short button. Thank you. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Like, all I've done is basically build out a bunch of primitives that I would have just that I literally had to Google and ChatGPT to build, and I just built them. So I don't think you've although I've now actually spent 50 minutes talking about this, I don't think anyone's kind of missed out. What we do now have is enough primitives to implement the mouse picking, and that's the bit I'm going to do live. So this is going to be using this and integrating it into the kind of functionality we've already got. So scene doesn't own the mesh manager. It has a non-owning. It's a reference, so you could consider that a non-owning view over it. So every scene will be a collection of entities which reference some mesh manager. That's kind of the design of this. Is where possible, like scene should be. Well, it will end up becoming not quite lightweight, but it kind of just contains all the references and stuff it needs to make all the stuff it does own make sense. I mean, there's 1,000 different ways of doing this. This is just what I've done. That we might even change it. Who knows? Oh yeah, we're all. Well, I'm sort of const west here, or west. No, const west. Yeah, and that also influences where I put the references. bring the game up in a minute. I want to start actually iterating on some stuff. So if we go to the Debug UI, right? So this is our abstraction, if you will, over. Sorry, bring out some debug stuff that I was messing around with. Okay, this is our abstraction over effectively ImGUI. The immediate mode, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So we start here, we set up all the stuff. For each entity, we create the collapsible header. So if you click it, it'll then add the imgwismo, which is the little gizmo for moving it around, blah, 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 blah. Should you be worried about AI helping with things? I think AI is great for boilerplate stuff that you know how to write and just don't want to because it's just turning the handle. I think it helps cut down on a lot of boilerplate, and I think it helps write tests. I don't think it is a replacement for kind of the interesting bit and the critical thinking bit. In theory, the promise should be it'll free up your time to solve the more interesting problems. Okay, right. So what we were trying to do is when we clicked, we sort of saved off that click, and we're like, ew, clicked. And then after we've done all the rendering, we went through and we pulled the pixel out and would basically turn it into a color. I'm going to sack off a lot of this, but I still think I want to process the click after it's rendered, just because it gives me access to the scene. And that's the thing that I'm going to intersect with. So yes, I think I need a way also of constructing a ray from the screen. I had some notes on that. I don't think I did that off screen. I can't remember how far I got. So let me just find, where was that? I do need a way of converting, given the, oh, that's annoying. I'm sure I had some notes on this. Well, we'll get there in a second. So this can basically all go away. Okay, so we'll store the click, and then, which is an optional, and then here we'll handle that. I think as well. Also, Debug UI. Let's have a look here. I think as well we're also going to want like const entity. Oh, I've still got Copilot on. Hang on. Okay. So we're going to want the idea that something is currently selected. That's going to be kind of a key part of this. So okay, so that'll kind of get us going. Yeah, that should default it to null, and then somewhere in here we basically want to say if entity equals selected entity, then we'll show this. Okay, so that's so the only time we're going to show the gizmo for moving around is if the current selected entity if the current entity we're iterating through is the selected one, which means we should only ever have it accessed once. Obviously, we still need to handle what happens if you click on the header, because that should also select it, but we can do that bookkeeping in a minute. Okay, so we need a way of where's, I thought I was more prepared than this, as always. Did I? Okay, fine. this I will be then now doing some copying and pasting of some maths, but that's fine. So in anonymous namespace, hash include graphic. Why have we got GLAXT here? Surely that should only come from OpenGL. Maths ray, and then hash include maths. Oh, I've already got matrix. Okay. So using the XY position of the mouse on the screen and the view and projection matrices of the camera, you can construct a ray that kind of goes through the camera into the scene. No, I mean, yeah, I was trying to think what we did. Last stream was largely just integrating ImGUI, so that was the only thing you really missed. Okay, so if we have something like auto spring ray, and then we can have UFPS const mouse button event EVT, and then we can have const UFPS. We need the window size as well, and then const UFPS matrix for. Actually, I'll probably just pass the camera in, I reckon. And that will return us a UFPS ray. Yeah, I did start with Kickstarter and I tweaked it from there. My dot files are available if you're interested. Okay, so then const auto, I do have x equals 2.0f over, I am tempted just to copy this from my notes rather than, here's something I found earlier. Let's just make this mouse x, so that will be evt.x, and this will be window width, I think, rather than the or renderer width. Which one changes when you scale it? I think it's renderer width you want. Why? Because I gotta window dot render height. Okay, and then const auto. Need a ray clip apparently. Sure, I'll believe it. Equals. This is why I had to. That's why I knew I was going to need a vector 4, right? Because a lot of the maths kind of involves you being able to do this. A vector. Got that, and then const auto inv proj equals UFPS matrix for invert camera dot data dot projection, and now I can do const auto ray inv proj equals ray clip. Getting there. Oh, and then you... That's interesting. Why'd you do that? Why not make render width and height variables you can access on the window? Because I think I think each time you call it, it queries the window size rather than, because I probably should correctly handle the window resize event in WinProc and update the variable. But at the moment, I think I calculate it on each call. So that would be why. And then finally, const auto in view equals u FPS matrix for invert camera dot data dot view. I should have done this as well off stream, so apologies. So this is the world's, this is WS here is world, so this is the direction in world space. U FPS vector 3 normalize. I should I think that's right. Yeah, and then we can just do UFPS. Sorry, bit of a heavy maths one today. Of course, this is not going to work, and I'm going to have absolutely no idea why. And then the origin WS is the vec3 of in view 3. So is that that's going to be that's the camera position. So that's the column, isn't it? That's the third column in a matrix 4, right? So that should just be const auto origin WS equals UFPS vector 3 in view 0 1 2 3 4 5 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. I actually have this somewhere else. Where's this? Position 12, 13, 14. So I got that completely wrong. What is going? What is this extra window? What? Where's this extra window come from on near him? Why can't I can? What? I literally cannot. Like I've hit the meme. I cannot exit Vim. That was bizarre. Well, all it technically does is it just resets these components. So this is actually, I guess, equivalent of doing dot z equals minus 1.0 f rai dot w equals 0.0 f. I guess those are equivalencies. What did I say I needed? After I absolutely had a mare. 12, 13, 14. All right, I'm just going to get this right this time. 12, 13, 14, and then this becomes Well, let's see if this works. Okay, let's go down. So where do we handle the mouse click? It's here. So always reset it. We're only going to handle it once, and then we're going to basically do if const auto intersection equals scene dot intersect. Actually, hang on. Const auto pick ray equal. Sorry. Yeah, quick pick ray equals screen. What did I call it? Screen ray. What were all my arguments? Remove that bug before I walk headfirst into it. Just remove that rake. Window, and then scene dot camera. Okay, and then we're going to do if const auto intersection equals scene dot intersect ray. I feel like probably should be called intersect because the ray is obvious from the argument that you pass it. So insert that, we get back an optional, so we'll check if that was prominent, and if we do, then we'll do selected entity equals intersection entity. Yes, I've got it, I fixed it, don't worry. And I guess no, hang on, let's just see if this blends. Whoa. That was from my brief moment I had. Oh my goodness. I really have butchered this poor file. Good job it's not header only and included in everything and causes all those translation units to fail. Okay, let's see what happens. So in theory, I should be able to crash. Span of vertex data. That's got to be mesh view. That's got to be that. So where do we build that? So we build this now from... So the offset is the vertex offset, which we calculate here because it's always, we append only to the global buffer. So the offset is always the size of the buffer before we append. And then the span is the new is the vertex data CPU data, right? So this is the CPU data which we've appended to, so that's not resized under us. Issue, just realized with span, that's going to cause an issue with when we reallocate, because the span will move out from underneath us. Hadn't considered that. Because you've basically got a view over a pointer and a size in memory. So if your reallocation occurs, which it's almost certainly going to do, it'll invalidate that. Tricky. I don't think that's the issue because they're already built, but it's an issue we will have to fix. Oh, it might actually be an issue because we added one and added the other. So actually, that's an interesting. Does it work with does it work if I click on the one, because I think the red one is actually built first. Could be an issue with both. Let's vertex data CPU dot reserve. I don't know, like 1,000. This is not the. I want to see if this is the bug. I want to see if this is today's bug or tomorrow's bug, basically. Still expected is fine. I think if the logical place for a caller to handle that error is the immediate call site, anything other than that, you just end up tramping that expected all over the place. And I would think that an exception would be a better way of communicating that error. But it also depends on the contract, right? There's this kind of concept of whether you have like alternate errors. What's the term I'm thinking of? Partial success. So it really comes down to your API. AC, would like me to explain something? What would you like me to explain? Oh, you just said there. Can I quickly list off the top of my head some of the changes you would make to the game if I wanted to make it voxel-based instead? I think I would have to research voxel-based games because I've never really made one. But obviously, a huge part of that comes down to the chunking algorithms under the hood. I think I would probably be a lot more aggressive on culling than I have now. I would probably write compute shaders from the start to do occlusion culling on the command list. I think that would make a massive difference. So that's probably the main thing I would do. I'm not doing that in this project because what I foresee us doing, which is a simple level run around, shoot an enemy kind of thing, doesn't need aggressive occlusion culling and that kind of optimization. So I've opted to make the code simpler to make progress quicker. But I think if I was doing a voxel-based game, I would invest a lot more in those kind of rendering optimizations. Yeah, AC's got my back. He knows I need more shorts. Right, okay, let's see if this... It'd be interesting if this still crashes. Otherwise, what we'll do is we'll probably have to revert the span and then query it each time. Okay, so that's definitely the issue, which is interesting. I mean, curious to... So I guess that vertex data doesn't exist anymore. Oh, what a pain. What an absolute pain. Okay, fine. So I think I do need to revert this, right? I can't remember what I had before. It is this. Offset and count. So I think what I need to be able to do is I need to be able to say, right here, right now, can you please construct a span over the data? And then the contract to that be it's only valid until you do another allocation. Yeti Baruto, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you for coming on. Have I ever made and released a game? I've quote unquote made a game because that was last year's project. I didn't really release it. Maybe this one, we'll see. Yeah, I don't have a huge amount of experience in it, but I suspect I would definitely be reading the literature. I suspect there's probably research papers and stuff around it. I definitely reckon there's some interesting optimizations for voxel-based rendering over like what I'm doing, because everything's just a cube right at that point. Okay, let's go back to Mesh Manager, because now I think I think I'm going to need two new functions. Then I'm going to need auto index data mesh view stood span stood uint32t and vertex data, and then that will take a vertex data. So you get this lightweight mesh view that you, because I really needs to be contiguous in memory. That's kind of like a key requirement here. So I guess the downside of that is that you pay the price of reference and iterator invalidation when you resize a vector. But I'm not going to do anything else. It's just far too complicated. So when you load it, you'll get back a mesh view, and then at any point you can go back to the mesh manager, which again is why it's kind of referenced within the scene, so all the information is there. We can say, hey, right here, right now, given this mesh view, can you please give me the span of all the unit HUTs and all the span over all the vertex data? I mean, I would not consider myself an expert in this by any stretch of the imagination. I've been doing C++ professionally for over a decade. I actually think I probably should be better than I am given that amount of time, but I would not consider myself an expert. But any advice to get better is to the best way to learn to code is to just write lots of code, ideally professionally, where you can have people with more experience around you and guide you and sort of mentor you. Failing that, you just gotta be typing on that keyboard. Okay, we've effectively introduced another layer of abstraction here, right? So we're abstracting away over this. So let's go back here. I suspect this will now no longer work. What did I have before? Get rid of that. Okay, so this is what I had before. So you get the offset and the count, that's fine. So then we can go mesh manager. Not that sounds dreadful. Excuse me. 3, bring that over here. Where do I have it? Somewhere. Very picky of me. I like to keep my functions in the same order in the header and CP file. That's just a personal idiosyncrasy. Okay, so we got that. So now I need to return. I basically need what I had before, and I got rid of it. That was stupid. Return. So we're going to have index data CPU. So it's going to we'll start at the beginning, and then add view.indexCount, and then that will be view.index. Oh, sorry, I got those the wrong way around. Count offset. I think it's quite an interesting one around C++. Is the fact that you could be doing it for so long and not be an expert in it a good thing or a bad thing? I think in terms of positives, it means you are continuously having to learn and keep up and evolve and stretching yourself. On the flip side, that kind of means you're not maybe the most productive because you haven't had a lifetime to kind of spend on it. I don't know what the right answer is. Okay, I think what if a person what if you struggle to come up with ideas to translate into code and projects? So that's a great question. I have a couple of go-tos myself. Whenever, if I ever get the time to learn a new language, I always like to do a basic ray tracer and a TCP echo server. More generally, ask ChatGPT for 100 project ideas and just go through and pick your favorite one. Another excellent use of the AI tooling. Other than that, it's a difficult one if you come up with projects that you find interesting. There's lots of is it awesome lists on GitHub? I think there are curated lists of things to try. The other thing is you can kind of flip it on its head and find a feature that you want to learn, and then you can basically do a bit of solutioneering and try and find a problem that fits that solution. That's another way of doing it as well. congratulations on your journey of starting C++. This will be maybe a little bit, I'll be using quite a lot of the modern stuff, but feel free to ask questions. It might seem a bit advanced, but I do try and keep it as simple as possible. I try to minimize how much like C++ wankery I engage in, but I can't help myself sometimes. I think C++'s standard library is relatively small compared to other languages. I really don't think it's that big. If you look at something like Python or C#, like one of these sort of batteries included languages, they have an awful lot more in it. Yeah, I think if you want to improve your modern C++, then go to the C++, whatever it is, page, the compiler support. Like look at the features in 26 and 23 and 20 that your compiler supports, and then kind of, you could do a bit of solutioneering there and try and find a way of using them. I mean, BSD sockets is cross-platform, right? I mean, it certainly works on Linux and Windows, but yes, I understand your point. It's not standardized. Okay, I think that'll work. I mean, it has every chance of working. So let's now go back to, Christ, where are we in our lives? Scene. So here I want to do const auto indices equals mesh manager dot, oh, is it not underscored? Oh, because it's public, that's why. Sorry, mesh manager dot vertex data entity dot mesh view, and then vertices equals, oh, it's typo. Okay, and then this should just become that, and then this should become that. I think that's pretty close. Intercept result is correct. Probably not. If we don't already have a result, if no result, if we, oh, that should be or, shouldn't it? I think, well, it doesn't actually matter because this is max anyway. If we, why do I check that? I just need to check this, right? Have I got a typo in the name? Oh, ooh. Grim. That's going to make everything go bang. I'm going to fix that after. Remind me to fix that typo because I want that commit to be cleaner. But I think that's right now because I track the minimum distance as the maximum float. Then anything less than that will become that. And then if you don't hit anything, then this result will still be a disengaged, unengaged? No, disengaged, an unset optional. Yeah, I use Fira code with the, is it the Nerd Forge, Nerd Font, something or other, the ligatures. So I get things like that, or like the spaceship operator like that, which I'm actually not convinced that's what I want, but I do want all the others, like big fat triple equals. Yeah, you can find the code. Someone will help you out with that. Okay. Christ. And Twitch numbers very close to the YouTube numbers today. That's exciting. Okay. Also, if you're looking for project ideas and review, you can also come along to the Discord. We're very, very welcoming. I'm always happy to kind of help out. Debug UI. Let's see what happens. Let's just run it. See if the whole thing goes bang. Oh, yes. I had to change, not that. Oh. The command buffer builder code had to change to use the new count and instance gubbins, but oh, Jesus, what is going on? That was worrying. My tooling is not having a good day today. Okay, fine. So I can click and nout happens, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. This doesn't crash. Click, click, click. If let's do log debug hit. See if I get anything from that. And also log debug checking ray. Okay, fine. The problem is that now I can't actually see my log. I tell you what we do need to do. We do need to wire the log into ImGUI. I think that'd be really nice because at the moment it goes to the console, which is a massive pain. My login code is interesting, and I don't know how easy it is to extend to have multiple syncs, but that's probably what we need. Although we do actually write it to a file already. I just bodged that in there. So I wonder if we could... I'm trying to think of the best way to do it. It would probably be to store them in a vector, and then this just takes like the top 10 lines. So it is hit, so I'm just not doing some bookkeeping correctly. Oh, hang on. It's because it's only going to work if I've got that open, haven't I? It's fool of a took. Cherno's pretty. I chat with Cherno infrequently, but like occasionally, and he's quite busy at the moment with his like new business venture. So he's keen to do it. I think it's just trying to find time for the stars to align with our schedules, and I totally get that. Like, okay, fine, this will work. Oh. Yes. All right. Okay. Fine. What happens if they are like over each other? I mean, sure. Oh, it needs to deselect if I'm not selecting anything. Multiplayer is very, very tentatively on the cards for next year's project, and I will probably do it most of it from scratch. I think if you want to do it and you don't want to do it from scratch, there's is it RackNet? I think I don't think it's supported anymore, but I think it's a pretty solid way of getting started. Okay, so that's actually quite easy to fix. So what we can do is do that, and then do, is it else? Select entity equals null pointer. I feel like there's a better way of doing this. Can I... I feel like I can use the monadics for this. Returns an optional containing the transform. I feel like I want to do something like const auto e equals oh, hang on. Let me just check this works first before I start engaging in what would be C++ wankery. Yeah, I will probably. This command pattern's kind of on my mind. We'll see how far we get, but I think being able to undo would be quite useful. So click, click, have a mad one, unclick, click, unclick, click. Oh man, that's pretty sweet. I think it is very popular to hate on C++ at the moment, and people with extreme views tend to garner more attention, and that is not an indictment on anyone in particular. That is just an observation of how these things work. A lot of people produce a lot of good value using it. Languages are tools, right? Never forget that. It doesn't really matter what you use. I enjoy using it. I have fun, and I have fun chatting to people about it. So it's really not that bad. Yeah, I need to do that next. What I want to do is see if I can. I really want to try and remove this if statement. So I think what I want is something like selected entity equals intersection dot transform const auto e return e dot entity dot value or null pointer. I think I want that. Oh, there's absolutely no way that worked. I was absolutely 100% expecting that to not work. That is a little bit of stunt C++ there. I'm obviously going to leave it in. I'll actually explain what it does in a second. Harand, I'm surprised. Like, I'm going to send that to Harand on Discord because he's not here to see it, I don't think. So transform will apply a lambda to a optional and either return, but will return a new optional of that value or an empty optional if the original optional was empty. So I can turn my optional intersection result into a optional entity pointer and then value or null pointer. So it's guaranteed to either be an entity or a null pointer. Yeah. You know what? I'm prepared to admit, maybe not the poster child for making things concise, but that's pretty sweet. You're right. Actually, that's a good point. I don't even need this anymore. I tend to like putting things out into separate variables because it makes things easier to debug. So I will actually probably leave that in there, and the compiler will crush that down anyway. But yeah, you could just do scene.intersection there. But I will. That's personal preference there. I will leave that as is. Oh, that is. Okay, fine. So what we want to do now, let's see where we're at. Lambdas are like, it depends what you're, to say you're using lambdas is that bad is there's not nearly enough information there. Like if you're shoving them inside, if they're a big fat lambda and you shove them inside a std function, then you'll probably be doing a dynamic allocation. But like just to construct a class, it's just a wrapper around a function at the end of the day. So lambdas themselves are not inherently bad. It's kind of what you're doing with it that might have some implication. Okay, so if I select this, then I don't like that. Clicking on the menu counts as a non-ray cast. I think there's some if io dot mouse, is it like want capture mouse? That sure sounds like an GUI thing. Yes, Docker. I just want a reproducible build system, right? Because I have GitHub Actions on the repo, and I want to be able to just it all works the same every time. So Docker seems to be the right way, and it's also easier for me to upgrade compilers and stuff like that. I just got a single working environment. Okay, so I mean that's not a great example because I need this to be back here. Okay, so we select this. Oh, I've got it. I've got it invert. I've got the logic inverted, haven't I? If imGUI does not want to capture the mouse, I have not clicked on an imGUI widget, then store that to process later. Okay, so let's wind this back and then go click, and then there we go. Right. Yeah, Like a lot of code. It makes sense, but it's not intuitive. Does it? One of my guiding principles is the principle of least surprise. So code should do the least surprising thing at any given point. I'm not convinced this violates that principle, but it probably does tread the borderline. The Transform UI is a plugin called this one, which kind of just slots straight into ImGUI and just works. It's really nice. Okay, so I need to basically have this open. If I want this, every time I click it, it should automatically expand this, right? What are the ImGUI tree node flags when they're at home? I just want to know what they are. I don't need. All right, here we go. Right. Selected, and so I want this to be const auto header flags equals oh my goodness, is it just in the global namespace? Is it just none? No, it'll be so if entity, hang on, right, take a step back, const auto is selected equals entity equals selected entity we are hype training. Is NeoVim and ID not really? It's much less powerful in terms of like has a lot less functionality. It's a lot lighter. It's more. I would say it's more like an editor. But you can get it pretty close. Yeah, you can make it pretty close. Few, thanks for subbing, much appreciated. Sorry, I went to shout you out. Glad you're here. Glad you're a subscriber. Okay, right. So if we are selected, then this should be what was this? ImGUI tree node flags selected. Ooh. Have I got it wrong, or is my LSP having a bad time? I mean, this suggests it is an enum. Oh, hang on. Oh, did I just have a syntax error? Is that why? Yeah. Okay, fine. I mean, it still doesn't lie. Int. It's an int. It's not a class or a namespace. So what? I seem to have found all the code for it that's not the C++ code. Can you give me an example? Just someone show me the code. Show me the code. Show me the code. Oh, I don't have to search all this. I'm not logged in. I bet it's in, is it in a sample? Demo. Here we go. Collapsing headers. Oh, great. Look at that. Just some rando. And then this will become header flags. Okay. That won't change the selection, but let's make one change at a time. Oh, I'm kind of tempted to try and get the logger into the debugger today if we have time. I think that might be quite sweet. That's pretty cool. So the question now is, if I select this, this should change the selection. So that's the last logic, because I think that should... You still want to be able to select it from the menu, right? So I think this then needs to change... is selected. Is it just a case of just then doing is selected equals true? And then changing selected entity equals entity. I can replace line 1 oh yeah, sorry, thank you. Okay, fine. Why is that not working? So it'll render all the collapsible headers with that, and that will tell you whether it's selected or not. However, if you click, if it is selected, which I think should then trigger this, it should update this and then render that on the next one. I'm using Docker for the build system, right? So it's a Dockerized build system, so it's got GCC and MinGW and all of the gubbins in there. Need to change header again for all entities. What? Expand. Need to change headers again for all entities. Oh, because it's immediate mode, right? So it'll render, at some point it'll be rendering the first one. I would have clicked it. But surely on the next frame, because I've set this on the next frame, right, on the next loop round, this will then be true. Right? Collapsing header only gives true. Oh, it doesn't give true if you click it. Oh, okay. So can I not have this then? I thought this was true if you clicked it. Right. Okay, fine. Can I not do what I want to do then? Can I not have this? Can I not effectively register an action on click? Is mouse trap maybe? So you're saying something like, I got I mean, I'm not, maybe it's not a hill I'm going to die on. It's just a little bit annoying. Maybe that's fine. Maybe I don't need this. Maybe you want to have multiple ones open at once so I can see multiple values and change them. Because like it might be useful to be able to change this color whilst I move this, and then just have it purely driven on the mouse. So actually, I think this is functionally correct. This should be decoupled from this. You could have if ImGUI button. You can have a select button in there. I'm not going to do it because I think I need to generate a unique label for it. But I think that's fine. Okay, I'm kind of happy. Let's comment this up, and then go and fix that typo. That doesn't look like much of a functional change, so we'll throw that into the C. All right, okay, so to mesh manager. Oh, hang on, I want to actually revert some of the changes I made. How easy? No, I'm gonna have to do it in one go. That's a bit of a pain. So revert. Storing span in mesh view, commit, select entity on click, and then we had theme. Let's try doing this in the most horrific way possible. Intersection result. Oh, it's all in this one file. That's fine. Use what a great example of where auto is handy. I could just change the typo in this file, and everything else will. I'm gonna say will just work. Okay, I think it was fine. I think, to be honest, I think this is actually better. It does mean it doesn't expand it, but again, it's just fine. Just deal with it. I'm pretty pleased with that, to be honest. I think that's a pretty good place to be. Okay, what side quest are we going to go on now? Right, what? They got like a text box, text area. What's the best way of displaying like ImGUI log? That is a terrible thing to search for. Log window? So ImGUI has its own log window, but I assume I don't want that. I want this, right? But obviously with that's pretty sweet. That's pretty cool. ImGUI text unformatted into horizont. Here we go. What's this? I want colors though. So display every. This is it. This demo. Begin child scrolling region. Right. Display every line as a separate entry so we can change their color or add custom widgets. If you only want raw text, use the ImGUI text unformatted. If you have 1,000 entries, blah 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 blah. I think I want something like there. Ooh, steady. This is going to be a bit of a side quest now, but let's... This is scroll bar. Right, there's going to be quite a lot to implement here. Let's do this piecemeal, okay? So let's create a new window. So begin frame. ImGUI. End frame. ImGUI. Begin frame. Yeah. Oh, that's ImGuizmo. ImGUI new frame. New frame. I assume this is implicit when you call render. Let's do ImGUI. What did we say it was? Like, what was the suggestion? Text unformatted. I could just do text, right? Not ideal. That is wrong. What is a frame? ImGUI new window. I do think I want ImGUI begin. Log. ImGUI end. There's gonna be a lot of fapping around this. Oh, that crashed. I failed some deep ImGUI assertion. Do I need to have ended whatever this previous misery is? Again, might be implicitly done by render. I want multi viewports. Oh, is it just not a thing like out the box? That crashed. But hang on, no. It must be because didn't I when I did the debug log? Yeah, no, but surely I don't need to because when I did this, right? I think I just need to go and see what this code does and then just copy it because this did what I wanted to do, right? All right. So, what does this do when it's at home? So this calls begin. I have the ducky something or other, which is with cherry blues. So I feel like I want most of this. So I want to call begin, right? And then I'm trying to create a new debug window for some logs. Oh no. So apparently the setup link's wrong. Maybe someone can find it and copy it for me. Sorry. So this doesn't end this. So actually interesting. Okay, interesting. This doesn't end anything prior. This literally just goes in GUI begin GUI end. Is that enough? I only want one log window. That's all I want. There you go. That works. Okay, so now it's got to put some jazz in here. So what does imgui? What was it? Imgui show debug log. I want their code up so I can see it. Show debug log window. Can you just have the source for that, please? Fine, it's not gonna let me do it. I have used mscripting before. One of the first engines I ever wrote was C++ with an mscripting backend. No, full 3D. Nope. Okay, let's just run these side by side. So this has a bunch of stuff I don't care about. Clear. What does same line do? The import I don't care about this. Here we go. Ugh, what is... I suppose the clipper stops it running off the end? What's the actual, like... Debug text unformat? Is that something I have access to, or is that internally? GUI... Ugh. Debug... Text unformatted with locate item. Sure. I feel like I want a pointer. Like, what is a point? I don't fully understand what their code is doing. Can I just like, I just want debug. Debug text encoding. What's this? Like, I just want to get something out so I can refine it. That crashed. Yes, I think you might be right. Ugh, put it in the wrong place. Sorry. Good spot. Debug log. No, that'll go into their debug log, right? So debug Wasn't it just like a plain debug text encoding? That's not what I wanted. Oh, wow. Okay, that literally does dump you all the UTF-8 code. Okay, fine. I think I just want text. I think you can push formats, so I might need to push like a color to it. Okay, that's fine. Literally, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be kind of good. So how do I change the font color? Push style color. Here we go. So let's say I want this to be const auto red equals im GUI im vec. I mean, it should have that, but anyway, that's fine. Let's do im GUI push style color. This has got some overloads. What we got here? This may incur a round trip. I do not care. Oh, is that just text colored? Oh, interesting. Thank you. There is. Okay. And then that will look like a... I'm hoping I can just do 1.0f, 0.0f, 0.0f, 1.0f. I really hope I can do that. Is it going to... Oh, I think it is. Boom, nailed it. Okay, fine. So now I am talking to whoever will talk to me, both. But I do dual stream across Twitch and YouTube, so I do appreciate sometimes it might look like I'm just responding to a question that I've heard in my head. Okay, right. So that's fine and such. So that's how much do I want to butcher my log code? Probably quite a lot. Because you need to draw it every frame. I do wonder if the bigger the log gets, the more I have to render each frame, right? Because it's not static, you're rendering each line. So I could always just render the last like n lines, but I think I'm just going to dump the whole log into there, which means I need access to the whole log. Something thread safe. I don't like any of this. But I'm here now. So the logging is fine. It will eventually format it all correctly, and it will stick it down that. And then if log is unable to file, it'll write it to a file. I think I then want like a store in vector. It's going to have to be a global. I just don't see any way around that, because this is this is stateless. I don't claim to be sane, but I do claim to not hear voices. But those things are those are mutually exclusive. I'm just going to point out, I do not like this. I do not care for this. However, in the interest of making progress, I will be doing this. I don't even want it in import. I just want it in log. Inline the vector. Inline. No, wait a minute. Static std vector, std string, store. History, yeah. I mean, it's already, I don't need log because it's already in the namespace, right? So I could just have, yeah, history might be better. So now I should be able to do for const auto log in. Ooh, is that going to cause a namespace conflict? I think it might be right. Line in log history. Line dot cstra. What was it not like that? Format string is not a string literal. I thought that produce. Does it not produce a? It does produce a string. Hey, wouldn't let me stick it in if it wasn't. What? Ugh. The joy of sticking stuff in a header file. Sure. Oh. Have I got a lifetime issue? Because I'm definitely logging. It is static. I'm single threaded, so don't talk about that for now. Big note, this is not thread safe. It's statically allocated, so it will always exist. Harand, hello. I always advise starting with OpenGL. I think it's conceptually easier and still pretty powerful. That's why I'm using it. That's my kind of view. Why is... Sorry, my big dome's in the way. Oh, hang on, that shouldn't even compile. That should not even compile. What is going on? Yeah, I'll show Harand my C++ walk rhymes in a minute. Why is that? And it's strange that it thinks that's a format string when it absolutely is not. I've written a toy compiler for a toy language many moons ago. It wasn't very good. I feel like I'm missing something incredibly obvious here. I don't think so. I mean, I'll give it a go. No. Because you could do... earlier we had this, right? So we got that. Okay, quick, like, is it not iterating through the object? Or is it not correctly pulling out the string? I don't know which is which, and both kind of concepts are terrifying to me. Why is it? I'm missing something really obvious here. There's some fundamental C++ism I'm missing. Oh yeah, hang on. You know how when you do a ray intersection, you might get back an optional struct, and that struct might have information that you need in it, say like a pointer to the thing you've rendered, you've clicked on. So now you have the situation where you need to kind of unpack the optional to get the pointer out, but if you didn't click anything, you still need to return a null pointer. Well, have I got the code for you? Christ, where was it? It was down here. Just a simple transform value or. We'll just run that optional through a lambda, produce an optional of a different type, and then value or it to get the default out. It's fine. It's beautiful. Effectively, yeah. Well, it works within my vocabulary types. I mean, an optional, as of C++ 23, optional is a range. No, 26, optional is a range of 0 or 1 elements. So it's got a begin and end. Do I have that? Do I have? Oh, I don't have it yet. So unfortunately, it's not a range for me yet. Okay, why is this being a dick? I can't understand why my is that my issue? Have I just got a lifetime issue? Do I need all translation units to see the same vector? I can't log in my logging code to see what's going on. Yeah, there you go. Fine, nailed it. It's my fault. Static is, oh, I guess static is the same as sticking in an anonymous namespace, isn't it? It does give it internal linkage. So that's my issue. That's one of my issues. A quick fix. So now what I want to do is I want to do something horrific, like switch line. Oh, rats. What I want to do is switch on. Oh no, it's this. Oh, yes, I'm a genius. Switch on the line 1, which will be the log mode. So case I. And then we do what all the logging modes I've got? I've got like, I don't have many. Debug, info, warn, and error. Debug, info, warn, and error. What's that color? So for debug, but info I want it to be white because that's going to be the standard one that you see most of the time. For debug I want it to be some sort of blue, like an azure, if you will. I will tell you what we'll do is we'll do default hot pink, which is unlikely to occur, but at least we've got it there in case we need it. 1.0, 0.412, 0.706. So debug will be azure, that will be white, warn should be some sort of yellow, so that's red and green. What's yellow? What's like the yellowest of yellows? Red and green, obviously. And I will not be doing that. And then error should be red, so I think that's fine. Okay, so now we've got our log. Oops. I need to see what happens when we log loads of things, because at the moment it hasn't run off the end. I'm worried that what will happen is this will just keep growing. So then I think we need the clip thing that they were talking about and make it default to the bottom. That's quite nice. Why is this a question mark? I think that's pretty cool. What I will probably do is just now dump like a load of things into the log to see what happens. So let's go game. Let's go main. For auto I equals 0, I is less than 100 plus I plus I log UFPS log debug yo. I suppose actually might as well make the most of the integer we've got. Oh, it will be the ASCII micro symbol. Yes, you're right. Okay, yeah. So, it is. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I don't know how to get it to auto scroll to the bottom. That's the one thing I need. I'm as surprised as you are. So if I go back to the debug UI, is there like some sort of options for this ImGUI window flags? What are my ImGUI window flags? ImGUI window flags. I've got disable title bar, disable user resizing, disable user moving the window, disable scroll bar. There's a lot of disabling. Always auto resize. No, so settings, no mouse inputs, menu bar, horizontal scroll bar, no focusing, no bring to front. Always show vertical screen bar. No flatten child window tooltip pop-up mode. Ooh, I can't see anything that lets you do it. Set scroll from pos Y. Okay. There's set scroll here. I don't know what happens if it's logging, if it's like spewing to the log and then you try and drag it. But I mean, that's... Yeah, I now can't. I think this will require a little bit more nuance, because you're probably going to want to be like, as soon as you drag this, disable that, and then have a button which allows you to follow it again. I don't know if I have the effort to... Because what I then need to do is basically have something on scroll change. Yeah. So can I do that imgui on scroll event? How to get the raw scroll value? What does this do? Like at the end of the day, like it's just I just need to be able to look at stuff. If I have to scroll to the bottom of the logs every time, I'm not that fussed because I'm. Okay. So I need to be able to. Yeah. What I want to be able to do is check if the. Can I get the scroll position? I think that's probably what I want. GUI. GUI. Get scroll position. Get scroll. So we can get scroll Y. So I'm wondering if that we can just do some bookkeeping with that, right? So so we can do if. Actually, I don't even need that, right? Is this easier actually if I just hang on? Auto follow equals. Hang on, hang on. Im-GUI checkbox. Follow log. If what's the other options? Is it like a auto follow equals false? Make that static so we can change it. True. And then like if follow something like that. What have I? Yeah, I think sorry for this. Let's go for the worst. Let's just figure this out on the worst case. Where's my checkbox? Oh, that's not what I want. That's not what I want at all. Am I getting like a different frame or something? I'm gonna need a different. GUI show log window. Show debug. Where's the code for this? Ordered. Is it begin child? Okay, fine. Maybe I do want auto scroll. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I'm not an expert in this. But I do feel like I've started now, so begin child. Log options. GUI and child. I was going to do lighting today, but I guess now I'm doing this. Okay. We've got child frame. What do I want my size to be? Make the lines in the child, not the other way around. Okay, fine. GUI begin child log output. There you go. Okay, fine. So if this will just always snap there, but if I uncheck this, then I can scroll back up. Obviously the log is getting longer, but that's fine. I can't use the scroll wheel because my engine, my game doesn't support that. And then I should be able to just do this and snap back to the bottom. I think that's kind of okay for now. Ideally, doing this would uncheck it. I think that might be not too bad to do. We could do if follow. So only if in follow mode, do that. But then we could do if GUI get scroll y equals GUI scroll max y. Follow equals false, else I guess it's updating so fast. It will, by the time it's rendered again, it will no longer be at max Y. Oh, if I... Yes, thank you. Good one. Good spot. Okay, so that's there. If I move up... Okay, that's nice. Okay, I like that. Presumably if I move it back to the bottom... I thought it might auto scroll it again, but that's fine. So, got some log messages there, some useful ones, keep going up, blah, 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 and then I can just do follow log, and then... Ooh. That needs to immediately set this, doesn't it? Yes, you're right. No, that'll always be true. No. What's going on there? Because this will only enter follow if follow is true. Why is that not? Why is that not doing it? Because if I set, I think I want. Is this not max? Is it not that? I'll add timestamp later. Oh, it doesn't like that. Oh, someone said it had to be 1. So scroll here should be at the beginning of the if. So if this... If we're in follow mode, but I've clicked and dragged it to change it, then we set follow to false. I think I need at the point here, where as soon as you toggle it, you need to do this. Although saying that, it'll then dump a load of shit on the end of it. I'm not that fussed, to be honest. Like, yeah, I think the issue is that I don't think this is the issue. I think we'll give it a try. I think the issue is the fact that what do you set the value to when you want to re-enable? Yes, this is not. See, it very briefly sets it and then it moves on. This here. I'm not, to be honest, I might just leave it at follow because I really must wrap this up in a minute. Yeah, see that I can't then. I might just leave it as following just to start with. I think that's fine. We can add that later. I don't want to leave it in a half-baked state. I really must wrap this up. And then you need to commit a few things up. Like, as logging goes, I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, we get that, and we can always just like scroll down and have a look. I think that's fine. I'm just going to remove that. I think the ability to scroll is more important than the ability to follow for now, but I'll have to think about it and fix it up later. Right, let's have a look. So we store log in vector, create log debug window. I think we can just discard that. Cool. Okay. For what stream are we on? Stream 8. Cool. I will do the Git things in slow time after this. I must wrap up now, but hang on, it's just in begin. This is indeed the last stream before Christmas, Bagmas, whatever you want to call it. So I'm not streaming Christmas Eve, but I believe I'm currently planning on streaming a week today. So keep an eye on Discord and YouTube, etc., etc. But I think the plan is I will still stream this next Sunday, but I probably won't be streaming in the interleaving Wednesdays. My obligatory Discord message. Do come to Discord. We are running a community challenge over December for people to come along and play around writing some shader code. It really doesn't, the technology is absolutely irrelevant. Whatever you feel comfortable within, Python, C, C++, Rust, JavaScript, doesn't really matter. Any form of shader language. there's some instructions on there. It should be a bit of fun, and then in the new year I'll probably do a live stream where we go over some of the submissions. Indeed, everyone have a great Christmas and New Year, etc. Oh no, I'll probably speak before New Year, but yeah, if Christmas is your thing, have a good one. Indeed, Toylang's welcome. Anyway, I will see you all anon.